Good morning to both of you.
Hi.
Hi. Jim, I was a verdigris backer, and
Thank you.
You're welcome. I came to see the second performance. It was wonderful. My friends and I really, really enjoyed it.
Thank
I
you.
was wondering if you were, there was either a video or to be released, or if you were going to stage another production of it, because it was such a well-done production in a small theater.
Well, thank you. She's talking about the play I wrote that we produced last year in Los Angeles. There is a video that we made. There are weird union rules about sharing those videos, and I'm sitting here in front of an audience of 800 or 900 people saying, I'm trying to figure out a way to sneak around those rules. Nobody will tell, will you? The play has been selected to open the new multi-million-dollar Alabama Arts Center in Decatur in November. They said they wanted to be clear that I don't get any of those multi-million dollars, but they are doing the play. So anybody here from Decatur, Alabama? I know there's a Decatur, Georgia, and there's like Decatur, Texas.
Decatur are a lot of things.
That's right.
I'll see myself out. I'm so sorry.
That's right. We're having lunch later. They're going to Decatur that. Anyway, I'm hoping that sometime while I'm still alive, it will play in theaters in every city in the world. Including in Virgo Facina. Because did you know that I heard this on the radio the other day. I don't know what to call this. There's a town it's Burkina Faso, right?
I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
It's a country, Burkina Faso, right? Yeah. There's a town there called Rambo. Right down the road is a town called Rambo 2.
Is it 2 or T-O-O? 2.
Yeah, it's a sequel town. Anyway, I don't know why I brought that up, but yeah. There will be more life to my play Verdigris. Thank you.
Oh, that's wonderful to hear. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good morning. Just
Hiya.
a quick comment. The young lady ahead of me said something about having a crush on Kim, and I think that actually goes for the vast majority of us.
And it's fair because I have a crush on Jim and Brianna, so that's why I come
Also
to these
valid.
conventions.
So
You know,
maybe
right? Thank you.
And now my question's for Jim.
So it's sort of trickle-down crush.
It's a trickle across.
So by like 30 degrees or whatever, eventually we all have a crush on you, Jim. So.
Take what I can get.
So if Bobby were to have an alternate universe spin-off where he wasn't dead, clearly.
That would help.
So that would be fun, like my ghost dad or whatever. Would his leading lady be his dearly departed wife, Ellen, or Jody?
Alternate universe? I'm thinking. I'm thinking. Yeah. I think it would be a group effort. Tune in one week, see how Bobby and Karen are getting along. Tune in next week, see how Bobby and Jody are getting along.
It's an alternate universe, after all.
Yeah.
Different rules apply.
That's why we have alternate universes.
Grace Company worked for John Ritter, so, you know.
No, well, it's fun for me. The way I look at it, the more TV romances I have, the less bad I feel about real life. Thank you.
Hi. I think that there's a great chemistry between you and Stephen Williams, and
Not that guy.
No, I wasn't thinking that kind.
Okay, good.
But I was wondering why Supernatural didn't explore more why your partnership broke up, because you seem to be pretty good
Whatever
together.
happened in Omaha.
As far as that
Yeah,
goes.
well, you know, we're going into season 12. I think it's a great time to explore Omaha. The people often ask me about the big discussion that came out, particularly in, and then there were none, about the difficulties in the past between Rufus and Bobby that happened in Omaha, but the writers didn't get around to telling either of us what those difficulties were. So I'm just as curious as anybody else, and I think it's a great way to revamp the show, get rid of the boys, and just have them do that. So, yeah, they haven't really explored it, and I think it's fertile ground for exploration.
Thank you.
Hi.
Can you see her? Hi.
Thanks, Kim, by the way, for the shout out. My question is for both of you, and that is, if you had to leave acting tomorrow and do something else, what is the one thing, I'm going to get this question out, Jim. What is the one thing, if you could like write about the most important thing you've learned in the industry, what would that be?
Define yourself. It's just that simple. Because the entire industry is about images and boxes and ideas that came before me. So if I spend my entire existence trying to fit into images and boxes and ideas that came before me, I will not be me, and I won't be honest to my voice. So from the industry, I've learned that I would rather be honest to myself and be out of work, quite frankly. I say this right now. Ask me after I lose my apartment. But right now, I would rather be honest to myself and authentic and happy than making money to try to be happy.
I think if I had to sum it up succinctly, I would say that I've learned that it's not about me, it's about us, and just because I'm having fun on a set doesn't mean everybody else is, and that means both the set and the audience. So I think that it's I think the communal nature of what we do as actors is probably the greatest lesson I've learned from it. That, and don't expect checks from Disney to be on time.
Or more than $1.48.
So,
I'm not lying.
Thanks, and Kim, you're a hero to a lot of us, so.
I love your work. Thank you. I'm so glad to see you.
she's a hero to me too.
Aww. You will.
Hi.
Hi.
My question is for Jim, but Kim, you can step in if you have any opinion.
Tell me if I have an opinion.
It's like she would step in if she has an arm.
It's like if I have air in my body.
What do you think happened between Bobby and Rufus in Omaha, since it was never like explored?
Well, you know, it was clearly a really serious deal. And so much of what happens between Bobby and Rufus is kind of lighthearted banter. Whatever it was, went beyond that. And my sense of things is that something I did cost him a loved one. But in my mind who that might have been, because, I mean, who would love that guy? But seriously, that's how I've always taken it, that there, and I think it's again, fertile ground for exploration, because after Rufus died, there was Bobby described how Rufus had come in when Bobby had lost his wife, had to kill his wife, and had helped him out of that. And it seems like, well, maybe the turnabout of Bobby then turning around and costing Rufus someone would be sort of poetic circularity or something. But I think it would be something that serious. I don't think backing into his car would do it. So, but I hope we find out. Thank you. Hi.
Okay, sorry. My question is, since on the show Bobby and Jody and Sam and Dean have kind of become a family, is it like that in real life?
Who are those other two people?
Sam and Dean, hang on a second, that sounds really familiar. In real life, well, we all live, I only really see these guys at conventions. So for me personally, this is more like summer camp. The emotional connections are genuine. I'm not bullshitting when I talk about how much I love these people. However, our day-to-day communications are not what you see here. This is when we see each other. I text with Brianna on a daily basis. That's for real. I will text her when I've locked myself in the bathroom and I need to be talked down. Things are going grim. My kid has duct taped the door shut. She really doesn't want anything to do with me. And I will talk to Jim because we have some common challenges in our life and some common wonderful, wonderful things going on in our life. And so I'll check in occasionally because, am I crazy? I'm not crazy. This is pretty good, right? Okay, great. But for the most part, I don't really communicate with them if I'm not working with them. Even though they're always here, as my daughter says, in my heart. I talk to them in my heart, and occasionally in my fantasies. But,
Talk more.
yeah. We discussed the upper lip swings, haven't we? Oh my goodness, they're so pretty. But it's not as we don't all live in the same cul-de-sac.
And that's a large part of it. We don't all even live in the same city. I mean, Garrett and Jensen, for example, they're in Vancouver 90% of the year, I guess, but they live in Austin. And we live in Los Angeles, but we run into each other at events. It's a weird thing about actors. There's always been this sensation that, we all know each other. I get messages from people I knew back when I was growing up, and they say, "Oh, well, you live in Hollywood, so how often do you and Tom Cruise hang out?" I'm like,
Wow.
well, all the time. All the time. But you work together and you form these bonds, and they're real bonds. If it's a good show and it's good people, the bonds are real, even if you don't see each other for a long time. I did an episode of NCIS last year with Mark Harmon, and I did a series with Mark 25 years ago, and he's one of the finest human beings I have ever worked with, and I had only seen him maybe once in that intervening 25 years, and it was just like we had only seen each other yesterday, because the bond is there. And so it's real, but we don't see each other, necessarily even talk to each other all that often. But, with some people you don't have to.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi. So my question is, have you ever cried while watching an episode of Supernatural?
Do you watch?
Yeah. But are you ever rewatching it and start crying?
Oh, you know what? Look, there it goes. Chuck in the 200th episode. Yeah, just so much love in that. Well, first of all, Rob just has such a soul that pours out of his eyes. And when you see that, and I knew going in how much of that show was to the fans, so I cried as a fan and I cried as part of the show, knowing how much love was behind that loving sentence. Just such a brief, beautiful moment, but I
No
lost
spoilers,
it.
please. I haven't.
Okay, I won't tell you that.
Okay. No, I saw it. I saw it because there was a fake Bobby in it. And it was a chick, which was kind of interesting. I can't.
Bobby died too.
Yeah, not as much as my accountant did.
They pay you?
Not anymore. I can't remember an episode that made me cry watching it. There were real tears on Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid, but that was in the making of it, and because that was a beautifully, wonderfully, enjoyably difficult episode to shoot, and but I don't really remember ever crying watching one. I probably should watch one and see how it is.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hi.
Hi, good morning. Jim, I wanted to ask you who was a bigger pain in the ass on set, Timothy Olyphant or Jared?
Let's just say that Timothy Olyphant is the least pain in the ass on a set of just about anybody I've ever worked with. He is one of the coolest, funniest people. I don't think Louis C.K. or anybody you could name who makes a living as a comedian has much on Timothy Olyphant for being funny. It doesn't show up as much as it ought to in the jobs he does, but because he doesn't often play that much comedy, but he's a hoot. That leaves the other guy. Pain, he's never a pain to me, unless, of course, I'm trying to do a dramatic scene in a bed, in which case I'm getting the Chinese foot torture. But he's been known to be a pain to certain first ADs who are trying to get the show shot, and Jared takes a certain amount of joy in making that difficult for them. But he's not a pain. He's a big old moosey bear.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hi, I have a question for Kim, but first I wanted to say that you were my favorite character on The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody when I was younger, and I really like to listen to you sing, so
Wow.
yeah, just wanted to let you know that. But my question is, if Jody had the option to bring Bobby back, but she had to trade Donna, do you think she'd do it?
Why would you hurt my heart like that? What? Okay, so now you have to plug your ears. Here's the thing. Jody has learned from loss. Jody, one of the things I love the most about her is she is like, what's the reality? How do I show up in it? And so I think Jody doesn't live in the past. She's dealt with the pain of losing her husband, her child, and she's now dealt with the pain of losing Bobby. I think if she had to bring him back and lose Donna, it wouldn't be worth it. So I think Jody is like, you know what, I'm gonna see him in heaven because I sure as fuck ain't coming back. It's not, oh, you can always come back on Supernatural. I'm like, I'm gonna speak for Jody. When she's done, she's done. She's got stuff to do on the other side. I really think that she would say no. My current moment is what's meant to be, and what's meant to be is what's meant to be. So I'm going to stay here.
So you're over me.
Have you met Brianna?
Jodio!
Touche.
Follow up.
Oh no! Okay.
Would Kim trade Jim for Donna?
For Donna?
For Brianna, sorry.
For Brianna. No, again, you know what's really awesome? I get them both.
Thank you.
Hi, don't ask that question again.
Do you guys see Bobby coming back to Earth permanently, like maybe a trial or something, and how, if it was possible, do you think that would happen?
I see it every night. Yeah, it's possible. I mean, we have lucked into the greatest show on earth for that kind of thing, because anything can happen. And probably will. I wouldn't be at all surprised. I'd be surprised because I'm not particularly expecting it at the moment, but I would not be surprised if they called up and said, you know, we figured out a way to bring you back and we're going to do it anyway.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, my question is for both of you. As we said earlier, Bobby and Jody got kind of thrown together a little reluctantly. They were both grieving their spouses who were zombies.
As one does.
It's just like Gone with the Wind.
I was wondering, how did their relationship kind of develop? We saw it a little bit in episodes, but I mean, there had to be stuff we didn't see, and just how did they go from reluctantly?
What are you suggesting?
Jody changed clothes. We all know.
Yeah. I think that set it off. That and she cleaned my floor.
Mess was made.
I better be careful because she could clean my clock too. The characters were the show, like pretty much every show, is moments out of the characters' lives, and I suspect that there were all kinds of interactions between them that didn't take place on screen, that the moments that did take place on screen were just reflections of. So I don't think what happened was too terribly out of the blue. I think it was a natural progression, and just because you didn't see every instance that they were together, what am I talking about? I don't know. No, I think it made sense. I think it grew out of a real natural connection, despite the fact that the characters would probably have rejected the idea that there was one at first.
Well, I think Jody started with a real black and white view, and then what happened, it's like, no, it's all shades of gray, and so her opinions of what the town drunk is now, she sees the reality, and you cannot unsee reality. So she was able to see a different side of Bobby and what was really going on, and you can't forget that. So I think once she really saw what the heart was there and what the intention was there, it made up for a lot of her predefined ideas as to what was good and what was bad.
I think it's interesting too that in 11 seasons, I don't think we've ever seen the town drunk. Have we? Yeah. Where did that come from? Anyway, that's just me ruminating. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, hello.
Hi. Firstly wanted to say thank you. In my life, you guys have been inspirational paternal figures because I've never had contact with my father and my mother passed away of cancer. So you two, for me, have been inspirations. Your characters are truly something that have strength and are empowering and keep me going. And I want to know who keeps you going, who inspires you, and what makes you want to keep going every single day.
My kid and my husband.
My kid and my husband. Wait, just my kid. I'm sorry, I was copying off somebody else's paper. No, I mean that's it. There's something about having a child that changes all of your perspectives, and there have been times in my life when I didn't necessarily particularly care if I got up the next day, and my kid makes me do that every day. I make her do that every day too, which is really hard work, but yeah, that's, you know, if you got a kid, that's who you live for. That's who moves you forward, and I guess ours do. Yeah. But she's
Thank
got
you
a
so
husband.
much.
Hey, listen, I know the band's on stage, but let's power through these last few questions.
Okay, sure.
Right. You ready?
For Kim, I wanted to know, do you miss Dylan and Cody?
Dylan and Cole, I keep up to date. Cole just was cast in a pilot, and Dylan was named the youngest master brewer in the United States, and he has opened up a meadery in New York. I miss them more than they miss me because, you know, they were 11 when they worked with me, so now it's kind of like, yeah, that lady that we worked with, whereas they're really still a part of my heart. I love those boys, and I'm so proud of them. So yeah, I do. I miss them.
Thank you. So, this question's for Jim. Since you were in Crimson Peak, would you rather work with Tom Hiddleston or Mark Sheppard more?
I think we all know the answer to that.
I'm not going to say the next part of the thing. I love working with Mark. I do. I really do. I like Mark a lot. He brings his own specific brand of orneriness to everything. But I find it amusing and I enjoy him a lot. Tom Hiddleston doesn't have an ornery bone in his body that I know. And I really enjoyed working with him. And you know, when you're walking down the street toward the location set and Tom Hiddleston is next to you, people treat you with respect. So, yeah, that's not so much the case with Mark.
This is the best answer ever. You literally said, Mark brings his own brand of ornery, and like every member of the band, we all looked at each other and said, yes, yes, somebody understands. Jim has put it into words.
Yeah. I love them both.
So much.
Thank you. Thank you.
And here's your last question, over here.
I have something for both of you. Kim, I'd like to thank you for your work with the Humane Society. I think that's really great that you do that. And then, Jim, I wanted to let you know that I passed on your request to the Idaho Shakespeare Company, and hopefully you'll hear from them. But I wanted you, as Bobby, to maybe insult us with Shakespeare.
How come you get to do that? My first Shakespeare festival was the Idaho Shakespeare Festival.
Really?
Yes.
I don't have a job yet. She just
Get
said
to go
that
out
like
there.
one. I don't know who to address it to because I don't feel this way about anybody here. Is Mark around? You are not worth
I like more wax than brains.
You are not worth the dust the rude wind blows in your face.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, Jim Beaver and Kim Rose.
You don't know, you won't find
Oh, that's true. Kimmy, I got me, and baby, I got you. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Kim. I got you, Kim. I got you, Kim. I got you, Kim and Jim. All right. That works perfectly. Just as we discussed backstage. Everybody, there's a costume contest. And it's no joke.